Okay, seemed to be pretty good shape today. Not great, but didn't show signs of a lot of pain. So we sat in the dining room until I'd take her for a walk around the hall. And then we got back to the room. As I've been telling you, someone's been taking her pillows. The caregivers seem to know who it is, but I guess they do. Anyway, today the chair was missing. Oh boy. Well, anyway, it's not gone far, I'm sure. That's a folding chair with a pillow, which I use quite a bit. Kay's closet is stuffed. I got to do something about it. Get rid of a lot of it. No need to have all that stuff. So anyway, I got to get after one of the caregivers. When they clean up people, they don't dispose of the underwear right now. They just put it in the wastebasket. Well, that's the wrong thing to do because, like I say, these are small places and it stinks up the whole place. And I put up with that for a long time, well over a year, before I decided that I don't think this is what they should have to put up with. So we got good response from Cascade, and the rules is that they're supposed to pick up when they change one of the women, they take that soil stuff and get rid of it right now and don't let it sit in that bathroom. But like I say, they're going to get used to it and get slack off and not do the job right. And that's what's happening now. It's a new girl. She's not new to the Cascade, but she's new to that floor. And but I don't know. I presume. Well, I don't know if she's doing the same to. I'm sure she's doing the same to the other room. But anyway, I told Manjuba when I was on my way out to catch my bus that it was in there and that you'd have to tell her to get on the ball because I'm not going to put up with that. We've put up with it way too long before. I call this the senior observer. Well, now I'm going to do a little observing, and I watch Russian television a lot. One thing, it doesn't have any commercials. I saw one once. Some hotel in Moscow advertised on it. So I just, I watch it for that reason, or I watch the Arts Channel when I get tired of watching the Russian propaganda. And this Ukraine situation has some vital things missing if you watch the Russian television, RT.com. What you're getting is that all the turmoil and fighting there is all the fault of the Ukrainians, and it may be. But the problem goes back further. What is at the basis of all this? What's this Nazi business? What's all this? So I checked back, and I've told you, well, I've told others that Stalin engineered a famine in the Ukraine that starved to death 8 million Ukrainians. Now that's a lot of people. Now, of course, Stalin just didn't wave his magic wand, and there was a famine there. It was engineered by the Russians. Now, when World War II came along and Germany invaded the Ukrainians joined the Germans in droves. In fact, 1 million of them fought for Germany, and they were captured, however, in Germany, right around where I was, a lot of them. In addition, starved to death by Stalin and the Russians. These 1 million captured in Germany at the end of the war were then sent back to Russia. And that was a real if you read the book Operation Keelhaul, so that's what's at the bottom of this thing in the Ukraine, between the Ukrainians and the Russians. So as you can see, it wasn't that long ago that there's still descendants there, or ancestors that were murdered by Stalin and the Russians, so there tends to be animosity left over from something previous. But we don't hear that on RT. Heck no, man, they're not about to tell you that the Ukrainians have some ancient, and they should have a claim to the land that the Russians took over from the murdered Ukrainians. That doesn't absolve the Ukrainians of blame for shelling these towns and destroying and creating making a million refugees or so from Ukraine. So it's, but now you know a little bit more about what's causing all this problem that the United States seems to be taking advantage of, or trying to. They don't seem to be doing too well. You will see the terror that these men knew was coming on them if they got sent back to Russia. So it was what the Americans did to these people was sending them back to Stalin was a crime that they probably haven't forgotten by now, although they're glad for the help to get back at the Russians. This shelling of the towns, even truce, so-called, they want to make sure that the Russians who are occupying those towns and villages don't get to benefit them if they don't have a chance to get back there themselves. And Yankovic is probably thinking too, as long as he's going to get charged with some war crimes, you might as well go out and do as much damage as he can. But that's behind this huge, terrible thing that's going on in the Ukraine, where they cooperate with the Americans so much. Sorry folks, I made a mess of this, but I've got to quit. I'm sick of working on it. In addition to truce, sorry folks, I made a mess of this, but I've got to quit. I'm sick of working on it.